I'm Mike, and welcome to my station. Today, the virus, lockdown, last days, herd immunity, and more. But let me start by reminding everyone that this is America. We have a Constitution and we have a Bill of Rights, and it guarantees the right of free speech. I can disagree with a politician, I can disagree with a doctor, I can disagree with a government policy, and I can have an opinion and I can think for myself. And it bothers me when the major media or some tech giant or some politician brands people with a different opinion as bad, a troublemaker, no compassion, evil, even a murderer. I don't have to toe the company line, and neither do you. We have a Constitution, we have a Bill of Rights. So today, here at Mike Franzo Ministries, we're going to look at several issues that we're all dealing with, and we're all thinking about, and we're all praying about. First thing, some have speculated that the coronavirus could be the beginning of the tribulation period mentioned in the Bible. And the Bible says there's going to be 7 years of tribulation, and the last 3.5 years are called the Great Tribulation, when things just are taken to another level. It will be a terrible time. Millions will die, untold suffering. The Bible says it's part of God's judgment on the earth, and it is the preceding the coming of Christ back to the earth. I've read Matthew 24, Luke 21, Mark 13. If you go to Revelation 6 and 7 talk about the 7 sealed judgments on the earth. Revelation 8 talk about the 7 trumpet judgments. Revelation 16 talks about the 7 bowl judgments. Every group of judgments gets worse, from the seals to the trumpets to the bowls. Looking at all of that, I don't personally believe we're at the beginning of the tribulation period. But I could be wrong. It will happen. It will happen maybe 6 months from now, maybe 10 years from now, maybe in the future. I mean, things are all lining up and coming together. So it could happen, and it will happen, but I don't think that this particular crisis is the beginning of the tribulation period. But this is a warning, a cautionary tale, an illustration, a picture, a snapshot of what will happen in the future on a grand scale. Look how fast society has changed. In a few short weeks, the whole world, the entire population, the world economy, all of us have marched in lockstep, obeyed, shut down like sheep. We've all gotten in line. They terrified us. They put the entire world in panic and fear. The, quote, experts, the media, the politicians, millions will die, they said. We need to work together, all stay inside. We need a global response. We need a one world government. We need one world economy. Fear can cause people to give up their security for what they think is protection. Thomas Jefferson said, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Look how fast a world leader could rise, bring the world from the very precipice and from the brink of destruction. A world leader, a dictator. The Bible calls him the Antichrist. In less than 3 weeks, only one issue was on the agenda in every hospital in America: the COVID-19 virus. Shut down businesses, forced people, millions, not to work. No church, no elective surgery, delay cancer treatments, delay cancer detection, delay heart patients. People with tumors must wait. Kidney transplants must wait. Liver transplants must wait. Unless you have the virus, we don't want to see you. Take 2 aspirins and call me in 6 months. I guess it begs the question, doesn't it? Is the cure worse than the cause? People in food lines in America, hospitals laid off thousands, millions out of work, and many living on the edge. Small businesses are shutting down or have shut down. Thank God they're opening up in some areas, but many of these small businesses will never come back. Drug overdoses, increase in domestic violence. I even heard where many professors and teachers and things are really worried that there could be child abuse in the homes, because many times they get the report of child abuse from the teachers and in the classroom, and no kids in school. Suicides, depression, anxiety, civil disobedience, a crumbling economy. Is the cure worse than the cause? The spirit of fear has blanketed the entire world. And the models they used, we know now, the models they used to predict and set policy were terribly wrong, all based on assumptions. I just read the other day that in Great Britain, all this began with the Imperial College. They came out with this model and predicting from the virus 500,000 Great Britons will die. Well, America picked it up, used some of the same modeling. 2.2 million will die. And in the article from Great Britain said they've realized that all those predictions and all those models are absolutely wrong. So the mortality rate today is now 20 to 30 times less than predicted. Mortality rate in America with the virus, 0.1% to 0.3%, much less than predicted. And now it's higher in some areas, obviously nursing homes, right? Those places where elderly people are, and some of those places where they're all congregated, yes, those are very dangerous. And yes, the mortality rate is very high. But generally, it is low. Even just a few days ago, they were talking in the Senate hearing, the actual rate of death rate of kids of 0 to 18 years old. Are you ready for this? Now, according to some media, it's just out of hand, but that's not true. The media is never telling you the truth. 0 to 18, the actual mortality rate is less, almost zero. There's some, sad, but almost zero. And some areas, it's just like the flu season. So the question is this: did we make a major mistake? I just read an article in article from the Jerusalem Post, which said, this is the greatest mistake in history. Did we miscalculate? Did we overreact? Did we make a great, major blunder? Was this error on purpose? Was it well-meaning, our well-meaning just based on bad information? Did our leaders panic and then panicked us? At the start, millions will die. 80 to 100,000 now is a prediction. And even now we're finding out state after state, just saw this in Colorado, those numbers are skewed. Some of the people that were reporting died of the virus didn't die from the virus. They had the virus, they were asymptomatic, but they died of another condition, a pre-existing condition. But they counted it as dying from the virus. Is this the Great Overreaction? Could I write a book? Could I do a video called The Great Overreaction? More and more doctors are speaking out, and I've listened to a number of them, and every doctor represents another 50 to 100 doctors. And more doctors are coming out and saying we did not have to lock down the country. We had to lock down certain areas, but not the entire country. All of us will get it, one doctor said. 98% of us will have no symptoms or very little effect on us at all. Most of the problem was confined, sadly, in nursing homes and in that elderly population and in the pre-existing group. The governor of New York was shocked. He was shocked when he found out that 66% of those who had the virus were locked down the entire time in their homes. And what we find out when we look at immunologists and disease specialists is a lockdown over a period of time actually suppresses and lowers the immune system. It lowers your immunity. You have to open up if you want to build up your immunity. You have to get outside and thin the virus. It's called herd immunity. We'll get into that in just a second, so hang on to your hats, all right? Our problem is that the medical professionals who've been trying to speak out on that, on what actually is going on, they've been silenced. Silenced by the media, silenced by big tech, and silenced by many of our politicians, all right? And they're being censored because it did not fit into their narrative of fear and panic. And now let's take Sweden. I hope you read about Sweden, because here's an example. I think it's going on in Norway too, but I know Sweden for sure. They're doing things differently, and it's working. There was no general lockdown in Sweden. They kept the elderly and the nursing home people and people with pre-existing conditions on lockdown. They allowed the younger population out, but they recommended to them, watch, social distancing, those who want to wear masks, hygiene, get in smaller groups, gyms, restaurants, bars, stores, all of that stayed open. The mortality rate is no different than any other country and better than most countries. Why? Because they practice the thing called herd immunity. So what is herd immunity? I love simplifying things. It's simply strategy through exposure. And let me give you the book definition. This is by the book definition. Herd immunity, the resistance to the spread of a contagious disease within a population that results in a sufficiently high proportion of individuals who are immune to the disease. What is he saying? So you have a certain percentage of people in a community who become immune to the infectious disease. And what that does is that slows the spread, it builds immunity, all right, and the virus thins out. It's called strategy through exposure. And I heard a week ago, one of the leaders, Prime Minister of Sweden, he said that Sweden has reached herd immunity. Now, there's two ways you can practice herd immunity. Obviously, the first way is vaccine, and we don't have a vaccine. If you vaccinate a large group of people, we don't have that. We hope we're getting it. President Trump is pushing it, getting it. It could come out the end of the year, maybe not for another year. We don't know. But the other way to practice herd immunity, strategy through exposure, is to get people out. Get people out and get people outside, get them moving back outside, back in their businesses, removing the lockdown in most areas. They're building immunity. They're weakening the virus. If you stay in lockdown, your immune system goes down, and I think it actually pushes the situation out and makes it good in the long run, make it worse. Now, maybe they should have had the lockdown. I don't know. But I know in the last month or so, we needed to open up areas of the country and regions of the country. And we're talking about science, yes, but we're also talking about common sense. The cure is becoming worse than the cause. Many of you listening have probably already had it. And many believe that it was here in November of last year. And the antibody test will help to see millions who have already had it and who are asymptomatic now. So that demands that we rethink the entire lockdown policy. Never in history have we ever quarantined the well. Never in history have we ever quarantined the healthy. We quarantined the sick. Again, is the cure worse than the cause? But I think the danger today is that bad people will use this crisis to their advantage. They will use it for political gain and political advantage. Bad people, and many of them have nefarious designs. Oh, let's keep the economy from opening up. Oh, I promised you that we flatten the curve, right? Then we will remove lockdown. But you know what? Even though we flatten the curve, let's keep it going another month or 2 or 6 months. Oh, we need more draconian measures. I don't care what the Bill of Rights say. We have to save lives, they said. You know, one governor said this could go on for years. No more big gatherings. This is the new normal. We will never shake hands again. Don't go to work, stay home, let the government pay you. And you know, one man said, don't let a good crisis go to waste. These hypocrites are telling you not to go to work, while all the time they're sitting on their big butts collecting a big paycheck for doing nothing. If you hear someone saying any of this, you run away from them. I reject all of this. Governors in blue states need to open up now and open up responsibly. Most of the country could open up right now. Don't try to keep the economy weak so that you can get rid of President Trump, because you're hurting millions of Americans. Let's get back to where I started, okay? Last days, tribulation, second coming of Christ. Matthew 24. Listen to this scripture. Here's a warning for us today. Matthew 24, verse 4 and 5. Jesus answered and said to them, see to it that no one misleads you, for many will come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and will mislead many. Listen to verse 11. And many false prophets will arise and mislead many. What a warning to us today. If someone could come and create a crisis, and then they come with a solution to that crisis, we're all on dangerous ground. That's the Antichrist of the future. And the Antichrist, the Bible says, is coming. But I want to encourage you. Things will get better. Look up, for the Bible says your redemption draws near. Trust the Lord, have courage, speak out, and everything's going to be fine. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. Please, I've got other videos on my YouTube station. You're welcome to get on. Just Google Mike Franzone. I have a podcast that's on several platforms like iHeart and SoundCloud and TuneIn and iTunes and all of those as well. But you Google me, and hopefully those will all come up. All right. Thanks for watching today. God bless. Bye.